coffee. Oh, Edith, dear, your keys are hanging out of your pocket. We wouldn't want you to lose those keys to your little MG.
She is wonderful. You're a lucky man, Henry, to have a devoted wife to wait on you hand and foot in all these years.
Edith is very active in community activities.
Her volunteer work? Oh, yes. The symphony, Planned Parenthood.
Well, she worked for 10 years at the mental health hospital as a nurse's aide. And if you think that's easy work...
Coffee's on.
Oh, marvelous, marvelous. I was just telling Henry how much I admired you, Polly. All those boards and committees you've served on all these years, and without a cent of pay. Whew. So many women, if they've never been trained for anything, they just sit around and vegetate.
Some people like to vegetate. Other people like to throw their weight around.
Yes, Edith, and how about all those long weekends you spend up in your cabin, all alone and nobody to talk to?
Oh, if I needed people around me all the time, I'd be married. Besides, when I crave society, my little cabin is big enough.
So I've heard.
You aren't shocked, Polly dear. Nowadays, women don't have to feel ashamed of their natural instincts. The sexual hang-ups of an early generation are but relics of the past. Thank God. Oh, it is getting late. I'd better get down to the purpose of this visit.
It's time for me to smell something burning in the kitchen.
Don't leave. I'm pretty sure you two talk everything over together anyway.
Well then.
Okay. Well, first, I want you to know, Henry, how hard it is for me to say this.
Now say it, please.
Well, it's about your retirement.
But I'm not retiring.
You'll be 65 years old next February. Faculty members at Mesa Grande are required to retire with a pension at age 65.
Well, you're forgetting the Van Voorhees chair.
Oh, yes, the famous Van Voorhees Chairs of Humanities. So the distinguished professor can go on teaching for as long as he can keep himself upright in front of a class. Perfectly lousy idea, I've always thought.
Edith, your opinion doesn't change the terms of the Van Voorhees chair. The chair has been vacant for 2 years, and everyone knows they've been holding it open for Henry.
Maybe so, Polly dear, but the appointment has to be approved by the chairperson of the candidates department.
Are you implying...
Sorry, Henry, I'm not going to recommend you.
On what grounds? My courses are as popular as ever.
Oh, yes, you're still packing them in.
Why, I have as much energy as I've ever had.
Yes, more than men half your age.
Well then, what, on what...
Oh, Henry, this won't be pleasant, but didn't you always tell us in that old ethics class that one has a moral obligation to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be?
I'm still telling them that.
Well, as John Stuart Mills once said, the lesser good must give way to the greater good.
And where's the good in getting rid of me?
I've been explaining this to you for 2 years, Henry. I have ambitions for my department. I want it to be known and respected. And that can't happen if I'm saddled with bad numbers.
Bad numbers? There's plenty of people who think highly of Henry. I mean, you should see the cards and letters from former students and colleagues.
I'm sure he does. The world is full of soft-headed idiots. But I can see that you're hopelessly out of date, an absolutist, in a relativistic age.
Because I believe in absolute
Out
morals
of date.
and principles?
Out of date. Nowadays, we know about the unconscious mind and environment heredity. The world has survivors will have to learn to change with it.
Yes, I know about your change. Situational ethics, cutthroat philosophy. Go to your local philosopher and learn to justify anything you want to do.
That is so typical of you, Henry, dismissing the most fruitful approach to ethical thinking with a cheap sarcasm.
It's not new. In the Republic, Socrates argued with 3 relativists, and he made them all look like idiots.
Yes, Henry, we're all idiots, except for you and Socrates. He's always been your convenient excuse whenever you wanted to protect yourself from change.
I'm not adverse to change, but what you're teaching these young people, you're not teaching them they need commitments. You're teaching them to justify anything they want.
I teach them to face the world realistically with their eyes wide open.
Yes, and what you teach is dangerous because it leads to them not having ideas to look up to. All they'll worship is power, and that's where men like Hitler come into.
Oh, dear God, if it isn't Hitler again, whenever you idealists want to prove what a good versus evil universe it is, you drag in Hitler. Well, I'm not intimidated.
That's because you approve of him.
I recognize that he was a human being, a certain product of historical environmental forces. And when the emotional climate finally cools down and people are willing to see him more objectively...
Objectively, he'll be a warm, loving father.
At least he knew what he wanted, admitted it openly and